So, I mean, we have our root chakra, which is very much connected to our groundedness, our place within this world. It's like our connection to Papatuanuku, you know, it's our connection to Mother Earth, and our ancestry. And then we have our sacral, which is all about sort of like our manifestation, our creativity. It's our pleasure portal. It's our portal of harnessing that sensual energy and that playfulness, right? We have our solar plexus, which is all about our personal power. It's all about our self-belief, how we believe ourselves to be and how we show up, our self-confidence, our self-love, all of those aspects of things. We have our heart chakra, which is ultimately about the outward expression of love. Like our internal self-love often comes from that solar plexus. Our outward expression of love often comes from our heart chakra. So the compassion, the forgiveness for self, but also for others, the way that we look at other people and we can bring in that compassion without that judgment. And one thing that I loved that you said, Leo, was that you mentioned that on this podcast you have people with conflicting opinions and conflicting perspectives, and I love that because I feel like we need more of that in this world. Definitely. You know, like I love when I can sit down with someone and they can disagree with what I say, and I can see them and I can say, cool, there's like no judgment here. Like I still have compassion for you as a person, even though I may not necessarily agree, but it also helps to open up my perspectives.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like we need more of that in our lives and our society. Our throat chakra is all to do with our expression, our self-expression and the way that we verbalize things, but also being mindful about how we do that, right? So some people can get really like, oh, I'm going to express myself and fuck you because I think that like you're a dick. And I'm like, yeah, that's not like healthy form of self-expression.
Yes.
Like self-expression is being mindful about how we communicate things, right? It's being aware enough to know that we could say something in that moment, but how are we going to say it in a way which is going to get the best results from another person, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Reading the room.
Yeah, totally.
Reading the room. Yes.
We've got like our third eye, which is all about our intuition. It's all about our spiritual connection to it's really interesting because part of intuition comes from our primal instinct, but part of intuition also comes from like our spiritual wisdom that we've gained from over lifetimes or over things that we didn't even know we had the information or the resource of, that just typically tends to like show up out of nowhere, you know? I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that. You could be in the middle of something and then, you're just like, oh, this thing dropped.
Yeah.
And you're like, where did that come from?
That almost a feeling of like what they'd say is deja vu.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're just like, oh. Yeah.
A resource of information that's available to you. And then your crown is all about your connection to your divinity, to the higher self, to the higher consciousness, to the collective consciousness, and also to whatever you believe or don't believe in. Yeah.
What are we moving there? What are we working on when we are doing the actual, like the action of twerking? What is happening to our body? Yeah. What's happening to our energetic realm?
So typically, like with twerking is it's like a full workout. I mean, especially with Twerkwerk, because we're not only just utilizing twerking, we're utilizing breathwork as well.
Wow.
Right? So there's like multiple components to it. So in that instance, you're working the whole shebang. But with twerking movements, typically, because you're isolating the movements of your hips and your pelvis, so on and so forth, you are using like that. You're tapping into that root and that sacral energy. Yeah.